This might just be my last Sephora purchase of the year, so let's talk about everything that I bought. Now, I do want to share a few updates, which I don't do often, but it's keeping me from posting more videos, so I'm going to take a moment. If you only want to see the haul, you can feel free to skip this part. But I decided last minute that I was going to do an end of year review marathon. And I feel like this is desperately needed because I have a lot of products I put on the back burner, didn't prioritize, and have yet to review because I just thought other content was better to post. But honestly, I think this is the best time to review products because I tried it all throughout the year. So now I have a better idea on if I like it or not, or if it's something that just fell on the back burner because it wasn't that good or that important, which means that my makeup refresh series is going to be paused for now. I'm not going to stop making the makeup refresh videos because I do think it's really important to the type of content I want to make, but I do want to take a moment to really just review all of the products that I have so that I can do more of a strategic declutter in the new year and also start fresh in the new year because I want to make some changes like I do every single year. So apologies in advance if you have subscribed to me for the makeup refresh series. If you are new though, I do have a lot of similar content to that, so I will link a playlist you can watch until I start posting more in that series. But currently I am in the process of planning and strategizing what I want to do for the new year, and I realized just recently that I will probably not be making Sephora Rouge, which for some people means absolutely nothing, but for me, I feel like that is a huge accomplishment because I think I made Sephora Rouge for the past, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years, which means I've spent, I think, over $1,000 at Sephora, and that doesn't mean I haven't bought makeup. I've bought a lot of makeup this year, but I was a lot more strategic about the products I bought at Sephora. I've also been trying more K-beauty brands this year, some indie brands, and also some drugstore, which I'm going to be reviewing within the next few months. It's bittersweet because I grew this channel off of Sephora reviews, Sephora hauls, Sephora shop with me's, but over time I have been distancing myself because I do think that Sephora isn't the only place with good makeup, and there's a lot of places with incredible makeup because the industry is so competitive, which means next year might look a little bit different in terms of the products I'm going to buy for review, since I will not be Rouge, at least from what I know. I can't make any promises, but with that being said, because I won't be making Sephora Rouge, I don't know if I'm going to be participating in the Sephora savings event. And if you've been watching my videos, you've probably noticed that I have been, taking a break from all the Sephora hauls and shopping videos and things like that because truly it doesn't feel authentic to my experience anymore on my makeup journey because I've tried a lot of it, and a lot of it is really good, but also a lot of it is very expensive. A lot of it is also, not within my interest as much as it used to be. So we'll see what this means for the new year. I'm not making any new promises right now because knowing me, I may or may not change my mind or think of something different. So you're gonna have to just subscribe, stay tuned, and I'll keep you updated once I'm ready to commit to making some changes. All I know for right now is that I will be making more product review content. I finally committed to that because I was back and forth this year about if I wanted to be a product reviewer or if I wanted to do more entertaining content or like beauty news or commentary. But I realized I love talking about products, reviewing products, comparing products. And so you're gonna see more of that in the new year, along with content related to my makeup refresh series. How and where that's going to live, I don't know yet. But now that I've gotten all of that out of the way, let's finally get into the good stuff. The main reason I even shopped the Sephora sale this year was to buy the Danessa Myricks Lightwork 7 palette. I got last year's palette, I really loved it, I traveled with it, and I had so much fun with that palette, but this year's palette has mattes and more neutral tones for the everyday person. I do still think this is pretty much a creative palette, especially in terms of the metallics and the foils, but it's nice that she threw in some mattes. The matte formula impeccable. No complaints at all. These shimmers, there's like different shimmer formulas. Some are metallic, some are foil, some are like multi-chromes, duochromes. I will say there are some flaky shimmery shadows, or like, I don't know how to explain it, like these very creamy but flaky shadows. So if you press your finger in them, they're gonna give you fallout. Be warned. My biggest advice when using these flaky eyeshadows is not to put them directly on your eye, especially because they are gonna get everywhere. Put it on your finger and then press and blend the formula on the back of your hand before placing it on your eyelids. These are very impactful, so I get why the formula is the way that it is, but it's a little hard to work with for the everyday person. I do plan on doing a complete deep dive with some tutorials and breaking down every single color, formula, etc. So stay tuned for that. I'm currently in the process of filming and editing it, but for now, I would highly recommend it only if you love each color story. It retails for $128, which is expensive, but if you love all of the colors, that's technically $7 per eyeshadow, and you're not just getting mattes, you're getting some really cool foiled metallic formulas. You also get it in this really customizable component, and if you miss the Sephora sale, don't you worry. Sephora usually does another 20% off before the end of the year for everybody, one-time use. Hopefully they do that this year, and if you're willing to wait, Danessa Myricks usually does 30% off to 35% off for Black Friday, so you can get a better deal by waiting. I'm gonna try to get my video up before then. I would personally avoid this palette if you are someone who is afraid of color, you don't wear a lot of shimmer or glitter or eyeshadow in general, and if you're someone who hates using your fingers, this is a palette to avoid. The second most exciting purchase I made was from Merit. This is their Solo Shadow Sheen, and I got the shade in Surrealism. Originally, I got the shade Sartorial, which is this smoky taupey brown, and I really liked it, but I particularly wanted a color that was more wearable, and Sartorial, although it's technically wearable, I felt like it was still too smoky for me to want to wear on an everyday basis. So instead, I got the shade Surrealism, which is this really pretty gold champagne sheen. This formula, in comparison to the matte cream formula, is way more like creamy and mousse-like than the matte formula. It also feels more wet than the matte formula, so I do think it's slightly different, and I absolutely love and adore it. Okay, this is so beautiful. What I love about it is not only the texture, but it can be sheared out to literally just look like a gloss on your lids, like a wet looking sheen. It almost looks like it's not there. So if you like natural makeup but you want a little bit of oomph to your eyelids, this is going to be that for you, but you can also build it up to get more impact without being glittery or shiny. This is something that I would recommend for those of you who like more no makeup looks. Specifically, pick a shade that kind of matches with your skin tone and can be used as a highlight, because I think you would get a lot of use out of this. I would avoid it though if you want more impact. If you like glitter, if you like pigment, if you like shine, unless you get the darker colors, I would avoid this because it will disappoint you. But overall, I'm having a good old time with this. I want every single shade. It was actually really difficult for me to choose which shade I wanted because I loved all of them, but I committed and stuck to one. Lastly, I will also warn you that if you have oily eyelids, this formula in comparison to the matte formula may crease on you because it's a little bit more of a like creamy formula, so it doesn't set down as quickly. I personally don't have an issue with it, especially because it's not a dark shade, so you can't even notice on my eyes, but I want to keep that in mind in case you plan to use it as a base or something like that. I think the matte formula is better in terms of being crease proof, but I do notice slight creasing in this. A very expensive product I splurged on during the sale is the YSL Touche Eclat, okay? I'm hoping I pronounced that correctly, but this has has been on my to try for review list for a really long time. It just was never a priority because it's $40, okay, before the sale, and you get such little product with this. It was kind of painful to buy it even on a 20% off discount, but because I wasn't really going to buy too many things in this sale that I felt like was exciting, I thought, all right, now's the time to try this out. And it pains me to say it, but I love it. I adore this. It pains me, and I got 2. You don't need 2 of these, okay? I would recommend going into the store maybe. They have like a peachy shade usually, and then a brightening shade. These aren't supposed to be concealer pens, although they are in concealer shades, but this is a brightening product, which means it's going to be very sheer and also very radiant. I don't have really dark under eyes, so for me, I love the way that this looks under my eyes. I have a peachy shade number 5, which I use to slightly color correct. Then I have 4.5, which I apply on top to then brighten under the eyes. This formula is extremely skin-like. It's the perfect product for your no makeup days. I am someone who either wears zero makeup or I wear a full face of makeup because I do find a lot of concealers and makeup products in general look weird when you have, hyperpigmentation and discoloration and you don't have like an even base underneath. But I do think that this blends seamlessly into my skin, that even on no makeup days, all I have to wear is this so that I don't look as tired, and it's impeccable. You do have to set this with powder, but the way that I apply it, which is very strategically around my crease, I don't have any issues. So far, so good. As always, I will update you within a few months and within a year to let you know if these stand the test of time, so make sure you're subscribed. But for now, in the short period I've had this, I'm having a good old time with it. Now, a product that I have very mixed feelings about is the Haus Labs contour stick in the shade Silhouette. I was very excited about this because of the shade range, and when I swatched it in store, it looked like the perfect contour color for me. Not too cool tone, because sometimes cool tones look really muddy on my skin, but also not too warm where it looks like a bronzer, so I bought it. But my issue with this is that the formula isn't as creamy or buttery as, let's say, the LYS or the Rare Beauty bronzing sticks. This sets down fairly quickly, so when you blend it out, it blends patchy and it drives me insane. But it's really confusing to me because I notice other people are having mixed experiences with this. Some people find it patchy, other people find it really blendable and creamy. Now, I think the issue is the natural state of this product isn't like the buttery, melty formula like the Rare Beauty or the LYS. The natural state of this formula is a harder, more dry stick, so you do have to warm it up. I'll usually apply it on the back of my hand before putting it on my face. I also noticed that when I have the heat on in my house, this blends more seamlessly because the formula is slightly more melted with the room temperature, but on days that I don't turn on the heat and it's just cold, it's so dry and patchy. So it's not a formula that I feel like is very reliable. It's very temperature dependent, which is annoying to me, but I can make it work because I like the color. So I would only recommend this if maybe you live in a warmer climate and or your house is warmer, and if there is a specific shade you are like die hard for, where you cannot find it in any other product, then sure, get this because I'm sure you'll make it work. But if you have, a contour stick that you can get somewhere else that's a bit creamier, maybe less expensive, you could probably avoid this. I recently tried some drugstore contour sticks, and let's just say it was way more blendable than this one. I will also note this is labeled a shaping balm, but it's not balm-like. It does not feel like their blush balm formula, and what you have underneath makes a difference. I paired this with their Haus Labs foundation, and because the Haus Labs foundation is so hydrating and so moisturizing, I noticed it glides on and blends better, and that's probably why this formula maybe got approved, because with their foundation it worked well, but I need a contour stick that's gonna work with, you know, matte foundations and other foundations that I use. Next up is this Makeup by Mario Sculpting Lip Pencil in the shade Almond. I have had this lip pencil in the past, not this shade particularly, but a Makeup by Mario lip liner, and I don't know where it went. I just remember loving it, and then it was poof, gone. So I decided to buy another Makeup by Mario lip liner, and now they have so many more shades. This one is described as like a caramel brown, but on my skin it actually has some mauviness to it, and it is the perfect shaping color for my lips because it matches my top lip line almost perfectly. So although it's not my favorite in terms of, you know, a brown lip liner or a darker lip liner, I find it to be the best color to have more of that natural sculpted base for whatever lipstick or lip gloss I put on top. So I've really been loving it. In terms of the formula, it's not long lasting, which is a bit irritating for me. I wish it was more long lasting because it kind of mixes with everything I put on. There is a time and place for a lip liner like that, so I make it work and I will keep using it, but I wish it was more standard to have long-lasting lip liners. I think the best lip liner that I prefer, that's a perfect mix between something that's blendable but also something that sets, is Charlotte Tilbury. But I would probably buy another Makeup by Mario lip liner if they have other shades that I really, really love, because I do think his line of colors is very natural to skin tones. Now, the next few products I didn't get during the Sephora sale, but I bought individually throughout the way. Is that English? But I bought individually over time. That sounds better. The Refy lipstick in the shade Morello. I jumped on the Refy lipstick in the shade Morello because it looks like the Oxblood lipstick I have been hunting for, but I'm so disappointed, y'all. I'm so disappointed. I did get this with my Sephora points, and I wish I could get my Sephora points back because I wouldn't recommend this. This is a decent formula. I wouldn't say a great formula. I think it's a comfortable formula. It's satin. It's not drying on the lips. I like how you can sheer it out, you can build it up, but because of the damn applicator, I get that they were trying to be innovative, but sometimes certain things don't need to be fixed. This makes application so streaky, especially for a dark shade like Morello. Now you're not supposed to apply a lot, you're supposed to apply in sheer layers. So I've been able to make it work, but in comparison to the lipstick I have on my lips right now, I'm just not going to reach for this over my Mob Beauty lipstick, which I recently got gifted to me in PR. That's what I have on right now. It's the Mob Beauty lipstick in the shade 120. Just look at this. When you swipe, one swipe, full pigment, and that's what you need in a darker shade, because darker shades are notorious for being patchy, and if you want your lipstick to look good, you don't want streakiness or patchiness in a darker color. I think the formula of this is fine if it was a lighter shade, but because of the darker color, the whole sheer application, I think it looks good, but if I try to build it up to look like this, it does not look good, and it starts to look really goopy on the lips. I would say avoid this if you want something with more even full coverage impact. Get the Mob Beauty instead, but I do think that this formula would be decent maybe in the lighter colors, so just keep that in mind before you buy it, because I will say the shade range of this is impeccable if you have deep, dark, autumn skin, medium, neutral olive. That is our color story. They really did the thing for us because it is rare to find very muted orange, brown, red colors like that, and they did that. I hope brands follow suit, because actually maybe not, because then my wallet will not be safe. My last complaint about this product is that it leaks. I don't know what the heck it's leaking, but I have set this down and it starts leaking oil. Don't know what's happening. It's definitely a packaging issue. So because of that, I don't even think I'll go out of my way to repurchase another shade. It's just kind of disappointing all around, and it's hard for me to recommend unless you are particular about a color. You can make it work by using a lip brush. That's what I've done with this, but not worth the money in my opinion. Let's move on to blushes. Yeah, the last thing I need is another blush, but I buy them for review, okay? I have a blush video planned very soon. So I got the Ilia Soft Focus blurring blush. I have their holiday palette, but I was curious to know if this is the same formula, and I do think that it is. I particularly chose the shade Glimpse because it's a very muted pink, but I will warn you, if you are my skin tone, this is too light to wear as a blush. It's almost ashy because there is, I guess, a lot of white pigment into it. What I will say is that I love to use this shade as a highlight because it has like a really beautiful pink sheen to it. So I just put it on like the tops of my cheekbones to give a little bit more highlight while not accentuating my pores. Although this is shiny, it does have some blurring properties, which I think for a lot of people might be very confusing, but think of like the Hourglass powders. It has a sheen, and any sheen is going to enhance your texture in some way or another, but because this has a slightly matte base to it, I think that's what gives it a slightly blurring property. It's basically a highlight that isn't as shiny, is how I would describe this formula. I would only recommend the shade in particular if you are a lighter skin tone than me, and if you're willing to use it as a highlight kind of blush topper vibe. Other than that, get a darker shade because they do have deeper, more pigmented, saturated colors. And keep in mind, this still has a sheen to it, so it's not your typical blurring blush. It will, in some ways, accentuate your pores and your texture like any other glowy, shiny product will. The last blush I got is actually on a 50% discount at Kohl's. Keep checking that app, y'all, because sometimes they have random deals here and there. This is a blush that I've been wanting to try for quite a while, but again, couldn't really justify it because I have so many blushes. Once I saw it on a discount, I was like, okay, maybe this is my sign. It's the Fenty Beauty Suede Powder Blush in the shade Bakin Cakes, and this formula reminds me a lot of the Haus Labs Velvet Bronzer. It has that very velvety, almost cream to powder formula. It's not cream, but it kind of feels like it when you swirl your fingers in it. It's very silky smooth, and it's overall matte, but it has a shine to it. They do have some more sparkly shades, but I usually avoid those because I prefer more of a matte texture. I really like this formula on my skin. I feel like it gives a matte but not flat dimension to my cheeks, but also this color in particular is my favorite more neutral everyday blush because it gives you that rosy warmth without being orange, without being too hot pink. It's a bit muted. I have it on my cheeks today, and this is a color I feel like will go with any look that I do. So I have been loving this. I think that honestly, out of everything I bought, might be in my top 3 favorite purchases recently because it just fits my makeup style right now, and I highly recommend it if that's the type of blush you're looking for. This is something that I actually think I should have paid full price for because it's that good. Last but not least in the makeup department is the Lawless Forget the Filler Lip Plumping Line Smoothing Gloss. Can't remember if I included this in my other Sephora video, but briefly, I purchased this to replace my favorite Buxom lip plumping cream in the shade Moscow Mule, and I have to say this is similar, but I do think this formula is much thicker. It smells, instead of vanilla and mint, it actually smells like fruit Jolly Ranchers. It smells really good. The applicator is beautiful for my more medium-sized lips, but I don't know if this replaces the Buxom lip cream for me. Hear me out. They're different. I feel like this formula is slightly thicker than the Buxom. I also find that a lot of the shades in this formula is actually more sheer. Like, there is very much color happening, but in comparison to the Buxom lip creams, I feel like it gives more color impact. I don't know if I'm going crazy because I ran out of my other one, and I actually think I prefer the applicator of the Buxom because it's smaller and I can get more control, but the formula itself is incredible. It's very long lasting, it's very plumping without burning your lips, and it definitely smooths out the lines of your lips. So I would buy another color knowing that a lot of the shades aren't super pigmented. So I don't feel like I need like a million different colors. If I want a more pigmented gloss, I will stick to the Buxom though. The last things I got from Sephora are actually skincare products, shockingly, because I'm usually just buying makeup for review, and I don't try a lot of skincare products because I do believe you need to give your skincare time to work, but I've been in desperate need to try some new things for the winter because my skin is changing. One of those things is the Paula's Choice Exfoliate. I have the 2% BHA liquid exfoliant and then the 8% AHA liquid exfoliant. So this one is supposed to help improve the dullness in your skin. It's a little bit more gentler, and it's also supposed to apparently reverse a compromised skin barrier. This has 6% mandelic acid, 2% lactic acid, which my skin absolutely loves. I got a mini size of this because the last time I bought from Paula's Choice, I wasn't able to finish the bottle before it expired. So here we are, a little mini. And then I repurchased this because I currently don't have a liquid exfoliant, I think. And I know I liked this one, and I want to be able to compare these two and see how they work when you use them together. So I'll keep you updated on how that goes. Last but not least, because we are in the winter season, my skin is surprisingly more dehydrated and dry because of the heat of my house, but also just the cold in general makes my skin super dry even though it's oily. So I purchased the Biossance 100% Squalane Oil. I remember this worked for me in the past, so let's see if it works for me again. Squalane oil is just really supposed to help with the hydration of your skin. I bought this to refresh my memory on it, but I will say I was afraid because it was an oil, but so far it is really improving the hydration, the plumpness, and the glow of my skin, and even the irritation of my skin due to the winter weather and the change of temperature. So far, so good, and you get so much product in this. So those were all of my last Sephora sale purchases of the year. I feel like it's very bittersweet. I don't plan on shopping the second sale only. I'm trying to think. I can't think if there's anything else I would purchase from Sephora. I would only purchase something if it's a new release I feel I want to urgently review. I do know I want to purchase the MPH palette, which is the underpainting palette from Mary Phillips. I'm hoping and holding on to her launching more shades, so I don't want to prematurely buy the medium yet, but we will see. I'm not saying that I will never purchase from Sephora ever again, but I do think I'm going to be even more distanced from Sephora specifically because I am trying makeup in other areas. But as always, I will keep you updated within a few months and within a year to let you know if these products stand the test of time. Make sure you're subscribed. Thank you all so much for the continuous love and support, especially those of you who watch every single video or go out of your way to use my affiliate link. I truly, truly appreciate it. Stay tuned for more review marathon videos, and until then, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!